Just imagine it's now 5:15 p.m. and you're sitting in traffic. There was some delay up in front of you, some quarter mile, and all you see in front of you is a sea of red lights. You can't control what happened, but certainly you're stuck in this situation. You are stuck. It's Friday. You're ready to have your weekend. You got a lot of plans. You have things you want to do. And here you are stuck in traffic. And this is a fairly frequent thing that happens. And now you're really getting angry. In fact, you're pissed off about it. And you just can't believe that somebody made the mistake of doing something dumb that created this whole condition in the first place. If that sounds like even remotely similar to some things that you go through, then this video is for you, because I have right here 3 very significant tips on how to overcome anger. And this is anger management strategies for you and yourself and your loved ones, of course. Hi friend, my name is Bernie and I'm from Tiger Resilience, where we offer addiction solutions for family members and friends who have a loved one struggling with an addiction, in addition to helping the person with that actual addiction. We also work specifically in behavioral health, and a lot of behavioral health from communication, anger and stress issues, and conflict resolution too. And just to preface, of course, my credentials and my background, I've been in the human services and behavioral health for 30 years. I have worked as a therapist, a program director, as a clinical director, and of course now the founder of Tiger Resilience a couple of years ago. And I'm here to share some of the best practices that I have come through in those 30 years. And I have worked with even some of the most hardened people, including people that are incarcerated. Yes, I have done work in prisons where I've had to work with individuals who've had a lot of issues with anger. And these techniques worked, and they worked significantly. And I hear from some of these people from time to time, even now living their lives normal and having a happy, healthy life again. So let's walk through these and get really busy with this. So the 3 tips that I have for you, we're going to go through all 3 of them one at a time. The first one is that do not respond to whatever situation has just started you off or set you off. Do not immediately respond. Step back. I call it my 5-second golden rule. Do not do anything first. Process what is happening. Process whether you should even be involved in that, necessarily even react to it. That 5-second golden rule of being able to step back and process it gives you the opportunity to go from a reactive statement to a proactive statement, or a reactive conditioning response to a proactive, maybe I'll get back to this, I'll have to come back to you later on because I'm not ready to respond to this yet, in a sense. So that is really powerful to understand, because we spend way too much time in a reactive world. And if you consider all of the world stimuli, all of the Facebooks and the tweets and the TikToks and going through a phone and being very busy, and again, I'm just as guilty at times with this as well. You know, we're in this impulse kind of society anymore where everything is just immediate gratification and immediate stimuli. So this is kind of a natural process, not to mention that some of the stressors that are going on, and I'm recording this in September of 2023, and I know we have a lot of challenges across the globe. And I know prices and issues that I deal with a lot of friends and some associates that are struggling because of the cost of living and everything else. And there's a lot of things to get angry about. So the very first step, though, is first step back and don't respond at all. Take a moment to process it so that you can understand. Maybe it's something that you can negotiate at that moment. Maybe it's something you can come back to at another time. So number 1, whatever it is that happens, do not respond right away. Be patient with your thoughts and processes and words, and make sure that you do something that's going to be proactive and not reactive. And that means you're going to process what happens and then make a decision at that point. Should I respond? Do I need to get involved with this? Do I need to take action right now? And again, these aren't things that are life-threatening. If they are, of course, you're going to take care of that immediately if it's a life and death issue, or if somebody can be seriously injured or hurt. So what is number 2 on this? So number 2, we step away from that action. Sometimes actually, and this is pretty ironic because I've done this with some of the prisoners I've worked with over the years, and they've had issues where they would get caught up in a melee of just some confusion and craziness, and they get sucked right into it because immediately it becomes a reactive process. Stepping away from that, turning away, backing up, and then walking away is some of the most powerful gifts that you could ever give yourself, because it keeps you from being locked in that fray. It keeps you from going back to number 1, being reactive. You're no longer proactive. Now you're just jumping into the mix. And I've had this conversation with patients too, have had these situations arise and it got into a little bit of a fight. Sometimes it's a quarrel, sometimes it's just very verbal, other times it was physical. And no matter what the situation or outcome was, is because they did not step away, what they ended up doing was that they actually just created fuel to the fire. Because a lot of times people that are kind of pushing your buttons, and remember this, very important for you to understand this, people push your buttons because they installed them. And the good news is that you can uninstall that button and or just not allow it to be installed in the first place. So as a metaphor of life, I stand by this for many, many, many years. And I work with all of my clients. I deal with the same mindset and the same metaphor. It really is a very powerful principle in our lives. Do not let people push your buttons because you don't let them install them into you, in a sense. So this makes you the opportunity to get back and walk away from something and not get involved whatsoever. And so what's our third step? Now that we have these moments and we're taking a reflection on it, maybe something really did get me angst up. Maybe, as my discussion was in the beginning of this video, we're sitting there right now in traffic and it's tough because maybe it's summertime, it's hot, you want to get out, you got the weekend. There's a multitude of things, and somebody else's behaviors has caused an issue that's going to prevent you from doing what you did in your timely fashion. And then you can get pent up and a little bit angry just sitting in a car. And again, I'm just as guilty as anyone else, and I've had to work through these processes just as I'm sharing with you right now too as well. It is a process for you to step back, to relax. Here's where breathing takes a huge piece. So the breathing exercises are very powerful and something you can do if you're in traffic or pretty much anywhere, really, to be honest with you. And they are really simple techniques. You're going to breathe into the nose, fill up the lungs capacity, fill it up right up to the belly, and then you're going to exhale and push it all out. Like there's nothing left, like you're just taking the last molecule of oxygen out of you. And then repeat that in cycles of 4 and do that in sets of 3. So do it in cycles of 4, redo it in sets of 3, and you will be amazed what happens biochemically to you and how your state will change immediately. It's in a sense having a runner's high without having the running at all. It's literally just being that stationary piece. It's a powerful tool. A lot of people hear about it and they think of it and say, yeah, maybe I should just breathe in there, and then they walk away from it. There's a little bit more involved with it, but not really much more. Again, cycles of 4, into the nose, out through the mouth, and you do it fully, full inhale and full exhale. So those are 3 tips for you, very powerful tips, and they will make a significant difference in any challenges you have with anger. So the reason I'm sharing this is that we have our anger management and stress management program coming out soon, an online course that will have a powerful set of instructions to help you, and is much different than things you may have seen out in the past. If you've had any familiarity with anger management and some traditional cognitive behavioral therapy programs that are out there, been out there for a long, long time. In fact, the federal government has an arm called SAMHSA that does the behavioral health piece, and they've had an anger management treatment model for many, many years, and it hasn't really changed much. The truth is we have changed a lot, and this program is really in tune to what are the factors that play in today, what are those factors that really make the difference, and that's why this course will be so powerful for you, and I'll get you some information on that. But if you like, we have a workbook that is attached below in the link below you can get for free. It has a checklist on conflict resolution and conflict management, as well as the things we just talked about here right now, those 3 points that you can use right now. There's some additional points in there. I believe there's 9 that I put in it. And in that book, you will find some really useful resources. It's no cost to you. Just sign up for it. It'll come into your email, and you can utilize that as part of your tools going forward so you can have a peaceful day, so that you can get out of that traffic jam on that Friday night, and even with all that backup in that time, and by the time you get home, you'll find peace and serenity within yourself. This is the whole idea behind this whole process. It's finding calm within the storm, not from the storm. It's having the umbrella over our heads in the middle of the rainstorm, in a sense. So I hope that you found some value in this. If you did, could you please just consider subscribing to our channel so that you can keep up to date on all the content that we put out, which is on a weekly basis. And at the very least, just like this, so we can pay this forward to families and individuals who are also struggling with this, and this will benefit them. I use these techniques for years, not just with only my clients, patients, but also with myself and my family. They are tools that work. A lot of these things you may have heard before, but the way we approach it is a little bit different, because we kind of with, look at things a little bit outside the box, because the common way of a lot of clinical practices has not always been successful. In fact, there's a lot of challenges with some of the stuff because it hasn't really been updated, and this is content that absolutely can make a difference for you. I would like to thank you right now for taking time out of your busy life to review this content. We have a lot more things coming out in regarding to tips with anger management, conflict resolution, challenges, and dealing with stress. There's a lot of material that we'll have coming forward over the next few weeks prior to our launch for the course. So please stay tuned. I thank you once again for taking time out of your life to look at this content. I wish you and all of yours the very best, and I'll look forward to speaking with you very soon.